Hi everyone, it's Nick. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, in this video today, we are going to be doing the Roast My Subscribers. This is where people send in pictures of their space, real people, subscribers to this channel that send me their own homes, and then I critique them and roast them a little bit, gently of course, because we don't want to take any of this too seriously and hurt anybody's feelings. And that's the thing, remember in the comment section that these are people's real homes, so before you say something completely inappropriate, remember that they're actually going to be watching this video. So remember that before you comment. People like this. I haven't done one of these in like a year. I did a few of these. I'm gonna link to a playlist at the end. If you like these, you can go check them out because these are really fun. I also have a course, by the way. You can click the link down in the description, and it goes over a lot of kind of my process for how I create a space from boring to beautiful, which I think is really relevant because that's basically what we're trying to do in these videos, because people have some, well, they're not boring, they're not boring spaces, but they're cool spaces that we're making a little bit better, and that's really what we're talking about in today's video. Let's get going. So as you may have noticed, I've been changing up some things around my home, and I wanted to thank today's sponsor, Nectar, for being a big help in that transition. I used to have a king-size bed in my bedroom, but it honestly was just way too big for the space. You know, I should probably take my own advice that I made in my bedroom design mistake video. And I needed something a little bit smaller, so I wanted to move to something like a queen mattress. Now I've got the Nectar Premier Copper Mattress, a 14-inch premium memory foam mattress made of about 5 different layers. The top cover is created with cooling and heat wicking copper fibers, which are really nice to have during that summer heat. It also has a second 2-inch thick, high-density, pressure-relieving gel memory foam that cushions every curve. I thrive on having a good night's rest, so knowing that I'm supported throughout my sleep is really important to me. Nectar creates the highest quality mattress and bed essentials and still has the most competitive pricing available, which is so important when investing in a mattress. You want to ensure that you get good value for your money and feel comfy and supported at the same time. So Nectar's adaptive memory foam mattress layers are designed to relieve common pressure points beneath your shoulders, your hips, your legs, so you get sort of better spinal alignment for every different type of body type. And since you'll be sleeping on this mattress literally every night, you might as well pick something that you absolutely love. But of course, if you don't love it, Nectar also has a 365-night home trial. It's also a forever warranty, free shipping and returns, so there's no concerns there. So if you want to upgrade your sleep, I would check out the links in the description, and thank you, Nectar, for sponsoring this video. Okay, so first we have Carol, who submitted her Montana cabin, and it is a really cool space, actually. It is very rustic, it is very interesting, it is what I would expect a cabin in Montana to look like. Really cool, has these really interesting green walls, beautiful fireplace there, and she's asked for a lot of general tips because she doesn't really like her chair, so we're gonna get to that chair in a second here, but she's looking for a space that's rustic, not super fussy, a little bit more on the casual side, and that's what we're gonna try to deliver today. So first, let's take a look at this. Okay, so I will say that first of all, Carol has a rug that is an appropriate size, which is high five to Carol from across the interwebs, because so many times people submit rugs that are not the right size, and she actually submitted, and it's a really cool rug. I'm just gonna start there. First of all, she has a rug. So many people submit spaces and they don't have rugs, and I'm like, but why though? Like, why not put a beautiful rug, especially if you have a hard surface like hardwood floors, like Carol does here. So kudos, Carol, for having a great rug that is the right size, that is also really cool and fits in with your design style. It's got like this really interesting sort of Native American pattern going on there. Really beautiful, lots of sharp angular geometrics going on in that pattern. I really like it. I think it's a really cool rug. I would say it's got little touches of coral in there. I really like that color. Maybe think about how you could incorporate that color in other areas or similar sort of red tones in the space, because I think it's really cool. I love that you also don't have white walls, which is amazing. She has green walls. Very cool. So often it's kind of a running thing on these videos that people only do white walls ever, which, love white walls. I have some in this very room, but you know, sometimes it's nice to change it up a little bit. And I love that she went with the green. Now, let's talk about the furniture. So I would say that she's got, looks like a sofa and a love seat there. They're like, they're okay, I think. Like, I think there's an opportunity there if you wanted to play with something a little bit different. I think you could experiment with something with a little bit more flavor, a little bit more of an interesting shape. It's a little bit of a generic sofa for me, in my personal opinion, but you know, it's fine. I would say that the chair across from it though, see, you know, when I look at it from a different angle here, it looks a little lost in the room. It kind of feels like this is not a chair that if I went to your house, I would be like, that's the chair I want. You know what I mean? I would say this isn't the most comfortable chair in the world because of the placement, because it's sort of sitting a little bit disconnected from the other sofas. It feels like it's floating in space. You've got a patio behind you, you've got a kitchen behind you, you've got kind of a little bit of this couch sort of across from you, and it just feels like you're sitting in the center of the room, which is not a place where people often feel really comfortable. I think it would be better off doing one, you could maybe even fit 2 chairs, depending on the size that you choose, away from an angle and sort of sitting a little bit more parallel from the love seat that's across from it, which I think is a better placement for a chair like that, just because people don't like to sort of have their back to the rest of the room and feel a little bit like they're kind of the center of attention. You know, I think people naturally like to have a layout where they're sitting in a chair and they're sort of just a little bit protected, where they can kind of not necessarily feel like the party's kind of happening all around them. Do you know what I mean? So I would rethink the placement. It's actually a really cute chair. It's almost a little bit like kind of Scandi sort of a little bit, which feels a little bit different than the rest of your sort of more rustic space. That's okay. I think it's really, really cool. I actually quite like it. I just think the placement sometimes feels a little bit floating into the center of the room for me, and it would make me uncomfortable, I think, to be sitting in that chair. Okay, let's move over to the kitchen area a little bit. First of all, we got this runner in the corner. Very cool. It's an exact match to the rug that you have sitting in the living room. I think that there's lots of really cool rugs in this style. I think there's an opportunity there to maybe choose a different rug. Choosing the exact same one is also fine if you really, really like it. Just, you know, for future, you could always experiment with something that is similar but different. You know what I mean? Like similar in style and maybe in color, but not necessarily the exact same, right? I also think it's way too tucked in the corner. Carol, let that rug breathe. It is just jammed right up in there. I think it really needs to be sort of pulled out a little bit just to give a little bit more white space around the rug so that it has a little bit more space to breathe. Right now, it just feels really jammed into that corner and I feel like it's gasping for air. I love that you have a small contained amount of open shelving. I love that. I think that's great because you've clearly got some nice little things that you're showing off there, show off some personality, some things you really love, but it doesn't overwhelm the rest of the room, which I love. Your cabinets go to the ceiling. I love that. I love this kitchen is great. Honestly, the only note is pull that rug out like 6 inches or so. Yeah, and I think you're in good shape. I think everything else is really, really cool. Hold on, spoke too soon. There is next to the dining table, you thought I would miss this, but you seem to have a sideboard over in the corner there. It's got a lot of wires and clutter and a lot of open shelving there, and you seem to be using that a little bit as a storage organization space. Personally, I would advise something with maybe some closed cabinetry or something to kind of hide some of those not so pleasant things, because I think it makes the space feel a little bit more cluttered. Also, I would say maybe think about some decor elements that you could put in to maybe put on the coffee table or perhaps put on the dining room table, a little bit more interesting to show off your personality a little bit more. Some decor items could really go over well. Maybe some plants, maybe some flowers, something like that, because I think right now you just kind of got that little tray, which is fine, but you know, I think you could play around a little bit more and get a little bit more creative. Also, the coffee table isn't my favorite, to be honest with you. The dogs are adorable, I'll say that, but I think that the coffee table, just the sort of wire base on the bottom, just doesn't really give it a whole lot of presence. I personally would rather something a little bit more solid, just so that it really anchors in the center of that room. My personal taste. Just my own opinion there, but I also will say, I love the fireplace. That is such a great thing to have, because again, if I'm sitting in Montana, that's exactly the fireplace I'm gonna want. Just not in that chair that's floating in the center of the room, but give me on one of those couches and that would be a perfect spot for me, I think. Overall, beautiful space, well done. I hope that was helpful. I've also, by the way, got a mood board here that I've created for everything that I have talked about. It's just some ideas, you don't have to take them, but some ideas of things that you might find interesting, and everything, by the way, is linked down in the description. Cool space. Okay, and then next up here, we've got Sherrie. Now, Sherrie has submitted her son's place. Now, Sherrie is on my Patreon, which means that people get to send me things, and I do lives all the time where I kind of basically do this, where people send me photos and I go through and give them advice, and that's what I do. And so Sherrie, I asked her for permission and she said absolutely to submit it to Roast Your Space so we can all take a look at it. So you'll notice these are realtor listings, and that's because basically Sherrie's son got this house and all the furniture was purchased with it. So this is basically how the space looks now. So it's not like he's super tied to it. This is just basically, I think, what the realtor has done, or the builder, or whatever. So that's what we're gonna pick apart. So let's get going. Okay, so let's start here in the living room. Okay, so few different things. First of all, we've got, we were so close to going all 3 examples and having a rug that was not too small, but we didn't quite make it. Okay, this rug is too small for this space, in my personal opinion. It is, all the furniture legs are completely off of it, all the different sofa and whatever, the love seat and all that, it's all off the rug. I would love to see that on. Even still, this looks like it's gonna be too small. You have a big enough room there for you to have a larger rug, so I would go one size bigger. The couch, sofas combination, you got 3 different pieces there. To me, they are too matchy-matchy. You can either, link in style, you can link in fabric, you could link in color. There's lots of different ways that you want your furniture pieces to speak to each other so that it looks cohesive, it's harmonious, everything looks like it belongs together. Again, color, texture, fabric, style, lots of different ways that you can link these different pieces together. But to have the exact same copy-paste job is just too on the nose, and it's not gonna create variation in style or tone in your space, and it's gonna just look too matchy-matchy, and it looks, well, like it's in a showroom. It looks like it's in an Ashley Furniture. And that's really what we're talking about here. I would love to see change those up a little bit, right? Like if you really love one of them, keep one of them, sell the other two, and look for different pieces, an accent chair, a sofa, love seat, whatever, that is again similar and linked in style or color or whatever, but is going to be different enough that it's going to create a design that is really varied and interesting. And I would love to see that in the space. Also, along the same vein, let's talk about color. So color, clearly this is a gray and brown and peach, maybe a little bit on the walls there. We'll talk about that in a second. And then you got this pop of this blue, but it's the same blue. It's the same blue copy pasted over and over. Kind of like the couches, right? We want to find blue that is going to be a little bit different, a white with a blue undertone or a gray with a blue undertone, or we're going to see light blue. We're going to see navy blue. We're going to see lots of different types. It doesn't even have to be blue. It can be a color that is slightly different than blue. It could be a greeny, like, you know what I mean? We're playing with different tints, tones, and shades of blue, the whole color, as opposed to just picking one exact color on the color wheel and then copy pasting it in the pillows, in the art, I mean, in the rug. I mean, it's just kind of the same blue over and over and over again. Also in the same vein, we're going to talk about the coffee table and side table. So these look like glass and chrome sort of coffee tables. Not my favorite in style, but that's just my own personal opinion. But what I will say is, again, they're the same. So we're looking for same idea. We're looking for pieces that are going to be similar, but different. And again, lots of ways you can link that. Metallic finishes, great way, but maybe a different style, but using the same metal, or maybe a similar style, but maybe a different metal, right? Like we can sort of play around with different varieties that are linked, but not the same. And I think we can do that in these furniture pieces as well. The peach walls. Okay, so it looks a little beigey peach, we're gonna say. I feel like it's not a color that really makes a whole lot of sense for this room. I don't know. I would like to play with something different. I don't know what that is, just not peach. That's where I'm at with this one. I don't love peach on walls to begin with. By the way, when I moved into this place, it was like canary yellow. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's a hard color to pull off, I think. So peach on the walls, I personally would choose something a little bit different. If you want to go for white, of course, that's the generic color of choice. Feel free, go for it. But you can absolutely play with a gray, grayish. You could play with, you know, different beige, just, you know, white, or play with a completely different color altogether. But there's so many things that need to kind of probably change because he just moved into this space. It's really hard for me just to like recommend a color necessarily for the walls until we get a better idea of what the rest of the design is going to be for the space. Moving on to the kitchen, I feel like the kitchen, if you were interested in, and you mentioned this kind of in your message, that if you're interested in doing something like a light sort of little couple of touch-ups there in the kitchen, I would love to see cabinets to the ceiling. I would love that. We saw that with the Montana cabin, right? We saw cabinets to the ceiling, love that. It just looks a lot more complete, less to dust. It looks better. So if this is something he's interested in doing, you can also just kind of put like a false cover on it and you can make it so that it looks built in, even if it's not super functional. That's an option. I would love to see that. That's okay. If you don't, that's totally cool. You don't have to do anything there. The dining table and chairs, a little drab, a little bit boring. Again, I really think we're probably going to be rejigging those. And you might want to consider, if you do stick with that furniture where you've got kind of beige, taupe, glass, whatever, maybe something like a rug underneath just to really provide some separation between the dining chairs and the dining table, and then the flooring underneath, because right now it's just looking very beige. And I would love to see some different pieces. I'm gonna recommend a whole bunch of them in this mood board here to give you an idea. And of course the vase is blue. Of course it is, because we're linking that exact shade of, who is this realtor and how did they get the exact same shade of blue and then get it in every different piece that they got in this whole home. So of course, obviously even the flowers are blue, you know? So, you know, think about changing up some of the color choices there, have a little bit more fun. Obviously, he's inherited a space that is very generic. But this is honestly what a lot of spaces in North America look like, right? So I think there's an opportunity to take this sort of a little bit more builder basic choices and maybe go for something a little bit more interesting and a little bit more nuanced. Also, I will add that the lighting fixtures, to add with the builder look, obviously, they're very generic, and I think there's a lot of room to play around with lighting as well. Because there's so many different things that you're gonna be switching up in this space, or sorry, your son will be, I think there is still lots of room here to change out the lighting as well and match sort of the style that you're looking for in the rest of the space. So, you know, obviously, if you have a very buildery home, you're gonna get the buildery of all build lighting fixtures, which is the Boob light. So I think there's room to switch that out, but I would really nail in some of the concept first before we start necessarily talking specifics specifics. But I've also created a couple of concepts here that you might want to take a look at for some mood boards to get some inspiration and a good jumping off point. Overall, it's a great space. He's got a lot to work with here, but yeah, definitely some ways to add some personality and some fun into this space, and not just with more blue. I guess that's what I'm saying. Okay, next up, we're gonna talk about Brian. Brian loves mid-century modern. He has fallen in love with MCM, and you can tell by the space that he has created. Okay, let's talk about the things that are super, super cool. I love that he's really committed to this style. He clearly loves it. Everything from the lamps to the case goods to the Ames lounge chair to like just everything, that sofa, everything is very, very mid-century modern. He's really committed to that style. He's fallen in love with it, and that is great. It's clearly a passion and interest of his, and that is something that you can clearly see reflected in his space, which I think is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Okay, so some notes that I could sort of add, just, you know me, I always gotta have my 2 cents. Okay, let's talk about those window treatments. I think the window treatments are very heavy. They feel very traditional. Do they have a little bit of a ruffle maybe at the top there? That doesn't feel super mid-century modern for me. I think that honestly with the mid-century, you don't even need window treatments necessarily. Now you practically might want to have them in there, but I would go for something a little bit more minimal and something that doesn't feel so heavy. I feel like these window treatments are quite heavy in this room. Personally do none at all, or I would do something just a little bit more pared down, something that's a little bit more gonna blend sort of into the rest of the space, because I think these ones just being so heavy are going to really overwhelm and honestly kind of detracts from the rest of the style that I think you're really trying to go for in this space. The rug also doesn't scream mid-century, but I kind of like that. I don't know, I really like this rug. I think it's a bit vintagey looking, even if it's not vintage, but I kind of like this. I think it works really well. It sort of does combine, I think, quite beautifully with the rest of the design. Now, if you wanted to really lean into a little bit more of that mid-century, then there's lots of rugs that are out there that are a little bit more going to fit that particular style and maybe might blend a little bit more authentically with the other pieces, the furniture pieces that you have in the space. But overall, I think it looks pretty cool, but that's just my own personal opinion. I feel like that's more successful than the curtains or the window treatments, in my personal opinion. Okay, let's talk about the arc lamp. The arc lamp is a classic piece, and I understand that you love it, and that's great. Something about it sitting, I don't know where, maybe if you put it over top of the side table or even the sideboard over on the left there might make more sense than having it sitting right over top of the couch. It could just be the position of the camera. It feels quite impractical for me. I would hit my head so many times on that arc lamp every time I got out of that sofa that it would drive me nuts. I feel like everybody is gonna hit their head on that thing, because no matter where you're sitting on that couch, you're gonna see the arc lamp floating above your head like a halo. And I feel like every time I'm gonna hit my head on it. So I don't know, it's hard to see spatially, but maybe consider repositioning that lamp a little bit just so that it is over top of something other than someone's head, because someone's gonna hit themselves, I'm not gonna lie. I will say though, I love, 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 love that you put different lighting sources around the room. I love that you have different task lights, you have ambient lights, you have some accent lights in there. Looks like next to that Eames lounge chair, you've got a cute little task lamp there. I love that just sitting there. So it's a nice, beautiful little reading nook. I think you did a really, really great job over here in the bar sort of liquor kind of cabinet area. You've got another table lamp, which is great, and to be honest, quite successful. I think you did a really good job incorporating lighting. I just think that the arc lamp right over top of that sofa might, for me, feel like not the best placement in the room. Again, you'd have to play around with exactly where it should go, but that's for me. Now, you also did a green accent wall. I actually, in some of these photos, really like the green, and I think I like the green more than the white, in my personal opinion, because I just feel like the green actually makes it cozier than the white does. So I don't know, there's just something about, I think maybe because that LRV, it's more of a, it's on the lighter side, but it's a little bit more of a mid-tone than the white, which is obviously gonna be very, very light. I feel like it creates more depth in the space and makes it feel a little bit lighter. And also, green was a very popular color to put on your walls in mid-century modern for that style. So I feel like the green is a really great option, but I feel like it's a little bit fresh, and I actually quite like it. I think it's a really cool color. I would really consider painting the whole room green. You could also paint it all white, but I just really like that green. So I would maybe consider not doing just the one accent wall and really committing to one of the colors. And in my personal opinion, the one to commit to is the green over the white. Just my 2 cents. So overall, I think it's a really cool space. I think that you've really committed to the mid-century style. There are some pieces there that don't feel particularly mid-century. Now that's okay, because you're mixing design styles and coming up with something that is really uniquely your own. So that is really cool. But then there's maybe an opportunity just for me to, point out some pieces that are not very mid-century and that you may want to swap out if you're really committed to the style. But again, you don't have to, because mixing styles to find something uniquely your own is what's great about design. So I think you're doing a really great job. I love, love, love the space, especially, by the way, for someone who says in his email that he doesn't have a whole ton of experience with design and this is all fairly new to him and he's really fallen in love with mid-centuries. I just love that for him. So great job there, Brian. By the way, I've also, of course, got a mood board here. These are some great options that you might want to consider. Links for everything, again, down below. So that's it for me for today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I'm going to link here to my playlist of Roast Your Subscribers. I've done this a few times. I haven't done it in a year. Let me know if you like these videos. I know a lot of you guys really, really do. I haven't done them in ages. And I will do more of them this year. So I hope you really enjoyed that. And I will see you all in the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye.